Uncommon, what is up? I am TJ, and this is Uncommon Live. I want to welcome you to this week's session. It is November 7th, 2019, and I was going to stop in here today to talk about leadership. So some of the guys have been attending some of these sessions, but offline, tuning in when it's good for them. And I think last week's session was one of the most well-attended ones so far. So we have a high bar we have set. So this week is about leadership. I hope we get the same kind of traction as before. So I hope you're doing well. I hope this week has gone well for you. It's been busy, even though it's not near, or it's not right near Thanksgiving. The words holidays have already started to enter in everybody's conversations. So once that happens, busyness just starts, right? You start planning things and everything like that. So I hope that your holiday is starting off well. And so this week we are talking about leaderships, just like we do on every week of our sessions. We focus on one of our topics, either husband, dad, leader, and on the extra weeks we do a miscellaneous, and on the odd fifth week we'll do something unusual. So this week is about leadership. Now, before we jump into the segment, I want to mention to you, we've had some really great conversations this week about with some partners, possible partnerships. And so we have one coming up I think is going to be great from our content standpoint, being it's around sex trafficking. And so that is something we have written about in the past with one of our devotions called The Delusion of Porn. This organization focuses on rescuing people out of the sex trafficking industry. And so we're going to help shine a light on that topic very soon. And then we are also meeting with a women's organization. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag just yet, but we are very, very excited. We've been talking or praying about a women's ministry that we felt was kind of our vibe as well. And I think God has led us to a ministry that it's going to benefit both sides, because when we spoke to her this week, she said they had been praying about, isn't there a guy version of this? Where are all the husbands and dads and leaders out there? And so we had a fantastic conversation yesterday. We are meeting again next week to talk about all the details. But I think those two partnerships are going to be really beneficial to both sides of this equation. And update on our membership drive. We are 39 memberships away from hitting our year-end goal. So if you would like to help support this ministry, I'm putting the link here in the comments. For $25 a year, that goes a long way for helping to make us financially sustainable and just help us develop more content. So with that said, let's move into our segment. I met with a young man yesterday, and he was talking about, he had just moved here recently, and he ran across Uncommon, and we had a fantastic conversation about him wanting to know more about the ministry, just some really kind and encouraging words about Uncommon and the impact we are having in people's lives. Many times we never get a chance to see the reach that God is using Uncommon for. And so this person met with me yesterday, and we did not know each other until that meeting, and it was a great time. And one of the things that came out of there was around mentorship. And one of the tags, or the title of this message, is that leadership can be spelled with a M, and that is for mentoring. So one of the things that we're going to be talking about is some things that make up leadership, but also mentoring. as our focus. And so the first section is affirmation and encouragement. You know, life is full of ups and downs, and you may have seen these daily affirmations that was on a comedy show. And he would just talk to himself about he was good enough, he was smart enough, and that kind of thing. Well, a mentor can help maybe even off that for you, kind of speak some honesty and some encouragement into your lives. And so I have benefited from having men in my life right now. It's such a blessing. I'm going to name drop a little bit. There's a couple of guys in our group, our small group, Bill, and there's Tom, and there is Roy, or Roger rather, and these guys, and Chip. These guys really pour into not just each other, but the younger guys in the group, and it gives us a way to learn about what is the next stage of life for us, because they've been through this. They're a little bit older than I am, and so it is great to listen to them talk about what they've done, what they've gone through, what worked or didn't work. And so affirmation and encouragement, because a mentor can be there, man, when you are sky high, to help see your progress and cheer you on. And then he could be there for the down times too, just seeking godly counsel and another man who has maybe gone through the same thing you are going through right now. And so each of these sections, I have a scripture or two. This one is from 1 Thessalonians 5:11. Therefore, encourage one another and build one another up, just as you are doing. And so I read that and I wonder how many men out there have a mentor or are mentoring someone else. And so if you are in that situation, please leave a comment with yes down below. And if you are not in that situation, leave a comment of no in the comments below. We just want to get a feel of who is partaking in this kind of process and what has that meant for you. Our next segment is called as role model. And so leading by example, do what I say, not as I do. We've heard that growing up. And many times we need, especially our fathers or our uncles, just mentors in general, to show a good example of what a godly man would be. And so a role model, setting the bar and challenging us to not only meet that, but exceed that. Because many times we will take the road that's easiest for us to walk on. And so it is good to have other guys challenge us to be better men. In this case, that is one of our taglines, encouraging men to be the better husband, dad, and leader they were always meant to be. I have two pieces of scripture for this one. 2 Timothy, 2nd chapter, 2nd verse. The things which you have heard from me in the presence of many witnesses, entrust these to faithful men who will be able to teach others also. And then Philippians 4:9, the things you have learned and received and heard and seen in me, practice these things, and the God of peace will be with you. So it's important for us to have a role model that we can trust, and we know that we can go to in good times or bad, and just kind of talk through life. So here's a good example. Lou Everling just joined. Hey, brother. Welcome to the segment. So Lou and Jerry and I have another gentleman that I kind of text with and call. We just kind of chat back and forth once in a while during the week. Days may go by, maybe even a week, but we kind of chat back and forth with each other. We live in different parts of the country. Just, what we're doing, whether we're being, challenged by something in life, or some kind of win we're doing, or pray for me, I'm going ready to go through this. It is great to have those guys accessible. And so, when you join Uncommon, like I said, the membership program or a charter, they are geared to bring men together. The charters are in person, but the membership program, you get access to a group, and that group is worldwide. And so we have guys that are from United Kingdom and New Zealand and Australia, and we have guys here in the States, and these guys share what's going on in their lives. And I think that is something that every guy needs and would benefit from if they took part in. So that is our role model section. Our next one is called accountability. So true friends have hard conversations. If you've ever been in a business and you've seen maybe a manager or a boss in general, and all he does is surround himself with yes men, you can see how useless that is, because everything they say or suggest, everybody's just in agreement with. And that's not how leadership works. That's not how you grow as a team. I know when I'm running my creative agency, I want feedback from people who are smarter than me, more talented than me, different viewpoints, so that not only can we as a company become stronger, but I as a person can grow as well. So accountability, if you have a friend who's going through something and they need some truth, do that. Please pour truth and grace into your friend. They will benefit from hearing that in a loving way that will take them maybe from a place of maybe sin or struggling to a place of redemption and recovery. So, and sometimes we need to be told we're doing something we shouldn't be. We justify all kinds of things. I mean, I'm the king of justifying things that I do. So there are times when we need to be told in a loving way, and sometimes in an intense fellowship way, that we shouldn't be doing that. And so I think without any boundaries, you can see that the 10 Commandments, just 10 of them are impossible to keep. So you didn't make 30 or 50. That's not the excuse. But even with those they're challenging enough. But without those, we would just run rampant. Here's a good analogy. Think of your commute to work or church or to your local market. Now remove stop signs and red lights from that. Think about driving to that location that way without any rules or regulations. Chaos. I know people drive poorly enough around here as if they didn't have stop signs or red lights, but think of it without any kind of boundaries. We're just not good on our own. We need help. And so it's important for us to be there and listen to our mentors. I have two verses for this. Proverbs 27:17, iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. And then another one is 1 Thessalonians 2:8. Having so fond an affection for you, we were well pleased to impart to you not only the gospel of God, but also our own lives, because you have become very dear to us. So as a mentor, he's not there to just sit back and pass judgment on you. He's there to get involved in your life and you into his, so that you guys can learn from each other. But you're trying to learn from a godly gentleman that may be a little bit older than you, so that he can help you with things you haven't got to yet. And you should be mentoring someone that's younger than you for that same reason. So I think a healthy relationship is to have a mentor in front of you and you're mentoring someone behind you in the sense of age wise. So our next segment of our leadership discussion is advice. So a mentor is a great person to go to for advice, because you can be going through some tough decisions or just some life growth. There's just phases of your life or seasons that are going to involve growth and change. And I know people hate that word, change. Change is the only thing that remains consistent in our lives. I guess that as well as death and taxes. But change happens. And so a good mentor can help, give you counsel around that, because like right now, my wife and I, both our boys one's already married, getting ready to have their first child. Another one's getting married April of next year. We're going to be empty nesters. That's a new thing for us, but we are embracing that and really taking steps already around that. So it's good to hear men who have gone through that their kids have already moved out, how they handled it, what they went through, some of the pitfalls, some of the things that worked or didn't work. And so a mentor is going to help in areas that you probably don't know of just yet, right? If we knew of all the things that we're going to struggle with ahead of time, we may be a little more prone to, I'm going to prepare for that. But there are things that we just don't know. And all of a sudden it comes to us and we're like, wow, where do I go for that? Well, obviously you start with prayer, right? Ask for wisdom and discernment from God. But there, he puts people in our lives. A mentor is a great person to have in your life. So our next one is called the listening ear. Sometimes the best thing someone can do for you is listen. All right, this is perfect for guys. And my wife is tuned in to this broadcast, so she hears this all the time. And this is a note for the ladies. If you want us to just listen and not try to problem solve like we're prone to do, tell us, I just want to vent, just listen. That way we'll put the old fix it gene in neutral and just listen. Guys, we should be just listening in the first place and not trying to fix the problem at the end of every sentence. That's hard for us sometimes. I know I am a problem solver. That's what I do. And so I have a difficult time sometimes when I know I can help someone, but sometimes my wife just wants me to listen, and that's good too. You just need to communicate that. And so, it helps also, it helps your mentor and the person that you're, either speaking with understand your situation. So if they're a good listener, listening to what you're going through, then they can maybe pray for you, suggest some advice, be there for encouragement and know what's going on. If they're not listening, if you have a mentor that is not listening to you, find another mentor, right? So it's important for that to be a trait for someone to just listen to what you're going through so that they can help you in that way, right? So if you're dealing with drugs and they're not listening and they're like, well, yeah, that'll all work out for you. You want them involved in the situation. So listening is a key component. The verse here is Proverbs 1:5. A wise man will hear and increasing in learning, and a man of understanding will inquire wise counsel. That sounds like the definition of a good mentor. Let's see. Also, there is Hebrews 13:7. Remember those who led you, who spoke the word of God to you, and considering the result of their conduct, imitate their faith. So you get a good mentor that is maybe mature in his faith, man. He's been walking with the Lord for 20, 30 years. There's a lot of wisdom there. There's a lot of life experiences. Glean the good parts and mimic those, man. If this guy gets up and does his Bible study in the morning, or he spends time with his wife, we're doing studies, it's important. Mimic that, because that is what's working. That's maybe why they are so content in their walk, or maybe why they have a very long and stable marriage or family, or just a presence about them. Let's see. My wife says, sometimes I just want you to listen, baby, but now she lets me know that. Yes, exactly. We almost need like a sign, right? A sign that says, just listen, no talking. So that's a good thing. That's a great thing, actually. The last section is spiritual growth. A mentor knows how important it is to have a personal relationship with Christ, and will encourage you to invest in that relationship. They also can mentor, or they're also mature enough to refer you to the Bible based on your situation. So if you're struggling with whatever, addiction, adultery, your job, your prayer life, whatever it is, there's probably something in the Bible that he could or she could recommend that you read that would benefit you in the situation you're in. And so that comes with, age, and it comes with experience and maturity. And so it's really good to meet people and listen for what makes a good mentor, and then approach that person and let them know that you're interested, that you're drawn toward them and their faith and their personality, and that you're looking for a mentor, and that maybe they'll be interested in, I don't know, spending some time. Maybe once a month you guys grab coffee, or you talk by phone once a week, or whatever your schedule might work for you guys, and see if they're interested in doing that. And so our verse here is Proverbs 13:20. He who walks with wise men will be wise, but the companion of a fool will suffer harm. I love Proverbs. So those are our segments. I'll drop this information in the comments as well. It's affirmation and encouragement, role model, accountability, advice, listening ear, and spiritual growth. And so I also have 3 different articles that we pulled from the Uncommon archives. I feel like when Disney puts movies in the vault, we're doing the same thing. We've pulled these articles straight out of the Uncommon vault. So one is men cheering other men. The other one is the goals of a leader. And the other one is called Brothers and Envy. And so these are 3 great articles that I would recommend you going to read. I've been pulling from older content when we do these sessions. If you're new to Uncommon, you may have seen some of our work, like maybe in the last year or 2. This content would be from probably 3+ years ago. And so if that is new to you, I would recommend you read those and give us some feedback of what you think of that type of content. Like I said, I will also drop in my notes here from this here. I might format it a little bit differently for you. And I'll put it in the comment here. It loses all its format, but I will put it in once Facebook posts this video. That way it'll be a little bit easier to read. And so with that, I hope this week has blessed you with this topic of leadership. I know every guy, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a guy that I know who doesn't think they're a leader. There's probably a couple that, man, they're so much in the gear of neutral, and they're just watching life go by. I understand that. But most guys always think they're a leader. When we ask for help with writing content, the most often submissions is around leadership. So we have husbands, dads, and leaders. But leadership is what rolls in the most. I guess that's what guys gravitate toward. They just feel that they can lead. They want to lead. Maybe they tie their self-esteem to their leadership skills and how their business or their job is going. So, but the one that gets the most traction from a leadership and asking for help is husbands. So ironically, guys write more about leadership, but they really need help with being a husband. That's an interesting little tidbit for you there. But if today's session has been a blessing to you, I would encourage you to prayerfully consider helping us out with starting a membership at Uncommon today. It's $25 a year. The link is already in this comment section, and so be sure to check that out. It's a win-win, and we are getting ready to add on some really, really exciting features. We're rolling these out on a pretty consistent basis, so you don't have to wait to join. These roll out all the time. So be sure to check out that program. Sign up for our newsletter on uncommon.org. We send out a weekly email blast once a month. We may send out periodically once a month a other email, but most of the time it is simply one per week on a Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. The other thing is we're on a bunch of social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Be sure to like, comment, and share. So if you watch this video, at the end of it, if you found that to be, reminding you of someone, please share this, like it, maybe comment on it, and then share that with another person. Who knows, you may need to share this with a person that you want to ask to be your mentor, or that you may want to be their mentor. This is going to be a good way to break the ice and bring up this topic. So be sure to do that. And so I hope you guys are having a great week. Again, this is around, leadership and mentoring, and around our topic of Uncommon. And speaking about Uncommon this week specifically, if you're going to be something, be uncommon.